This is the Logitech G910 Orion Spark. I've actually been using this keyboard on a daily basis for the past 2 or 3 years. I think closer to 3 years. And overall, I've really enjoyed it. There is also the G910 Orion Spectrum. The Orion Spectrum features a different keycap rather than these angular concave keycaps. When I was first looking for keyboards, I wanted something mechanical that also had RGB lighting, and so the first thing I got was a Corsair. I believe it was a K95. At the time, I actually had a Mac. The software was not compatible with Mac. Big shocker. So it's worth noting that the Logitech software is Mac compatible if you are using a Mac, as well as Windows, of course. I paid around $140 for this keyboard, and now it can be achieved for under $100. This keyboard has 104 keys. It is a full keyboard, including a number pad, 9 programmable macro keys, with 27 possible macros, because you get these macro keys which can switch for a set of macros, so to speak. You get an ARX dock, which is this little device which we will talk about. You do get media control keys, including a volume scroll wheel, as well as media buttons, a mute button, a light for the RGB, as well as game mode. I believe it comes with 2 detachable wrist rests now, so you can choose which wrist rest you use. However, either I didn't get mine or I accidentally threw it out in the packaging. Underneath our keycaps, we will find a Romer G mechanical switch. Here's what the switch sounds like from about a foot away. Now about 6 to 8 feet. I really enjoy the software that Logitech uses. I think it's very easy to use. I think as far as effects go, it could do better as far as presets. I do believe that you can create just about any kind of effect that you want. However, to do that, it would require quite a lot of work. However, some of the presets are very cool and the effects are indeed awesome, and again, you can really do whatever you want with it. I think the lighting on this keyboard does look very good. However, as you can see, only the text and the font on the keycap shines light through, meaning that you don't get the light underneath the keycaps like you do on some other keyboards. Here we have the Logitech gaming software, the software for the G910. So again, we can program keys. We can set which keys are disabled and activated during gaming mode, play with RGB. There is actually a heat map, which basically tells you where most of your key presses are. I believe you can create any effect you want. However, some of the presets are kind of, rather uninteresting. I'll admit it was a little underwhelming at first, although it did grow on me. I still think that the RGB isn't something I would describe as impressive, although it is very rich and saturated, it looks good, and there's plenty you can do with it. I would have just preferred something a little more insane. Something I do appreciate, however, is this little thing lights up, and of course the Logitech Gaming G in the corner also lights up, so it is cool that those individually light up. I also like the design on the keycap, it's pretty interesting. The G keys are like that too. So the ergonomics on this keyboard are a little interesting. You got this wrist rest. This little divot is kind of interesting. I don't know if this was intentional, but when my hand is on the WASD key, my thenar eminence, or this part of my hand, actually sort of rests in that little area. And for me, it kind of works. This has somewhat jagged edges, so it's not actually... I can't really figure out if it's comfortable. The overall size of this keyboard sort of feels really big. However, I just compared it to Razer's Black Widow Chroma, and really it's not all that much bigger. But for whatever reason, it feels relatively bulky. It seems like there's a lot of extra space on either side. It still does have sort of a bulky feel to it. I really like the height of this keyboard. I think it's something that works. Overall, it feels very good to use. And the one thing that I really like is over a sustained period of time through typing, it feels really good. And sometimes I will be typing for a very long time, and frankly, I feel like this keyboard actually helps fatigue with my fingers while I'm typing, at least over a membrane keyboard. Okay, so easily one of the most questionable things about this keyboard is definitely the keycap design. Now, first of all, you have to really question what their thought process on this was. So if you look on this side, you see these are concave and it leads down all the way, and then this doesn't have any concaveness. It's just completely random. So I think the idea here was that it kind of positions your finger in the middle of the key, and in theory keeps your finger more centered and makes it easier to find the center of the key. However, it does create a problem. So as you can see, the edge comes up quite a lot, which means the edge here is very sharp in between keys. So essentially what you will find happening is as your finger is running across, if this is down and you're using that to slide off, you're going to get caught on that ledge. So even though it kind of helps you center in the key and helps you find it, which I'll admit feels kind of nice, it can also cause you to trip up while going across keys. And it's not really just theory either. You'll notice that sometimes when you are typing and your fingers are moving rapidly, sometimes you will get caught up on a keycap, and it's pretty annoying. Of course, I'm not talking about serious snags here where your finger literally gets stuck on it, but still, it can cause a typo, or in general just kind of slows your typing down, which can add up to, frankly, a lot, especially if you're typing a lot, or more importantly, if you're gaming. Programmable macro keys are a pretty awesome function, and they're very easy to use. All you do is hit this little button, macro record, press which button, and then record your key macro. It's very easy to use, and it's pretty fun to mess around with. Some other pros about the size and shape of this keyboard is the fact that it has a nice weight to it, and it stays planted where it is really well. It just feels kind of solid overall. It's worth noting that this keyboard only takes one USB, and it does not have any pass-throughs for auxiliary or USBs. So the ARX dock is essentially just a little thing that comes out where you can lay your phone in, like so. First of all, it's not that wide, so if you have a particularly bulky phone or a bulky case, it might not even really fit that well. And second of all, as you can see, the top of this little book is now entering the space that my screen is in. So if you have your phone vertically like that, it's definitely going to be in the way of your view, and I can't see a lot of people actually doing that. The app is pretty cool. It gives you some basic readings from your computer. I use HW Monitor to monitor all the things on my computer. If you want to take a quick peek of core temperatures or your GPU temperature or that kind of thing, that's kind of a neat way to do it. Additionally, you can also do some controls from your phone. The mouse is pretty handy. I'm not sure if you can fully change the RGB on the keyboard. Either way, it's a pretty interesting feature. So one thing I do like about it is it does feel pretty durable, and it has been completely reliable. I haven't had any issues over the past 2 to 3 years that I've used it, and generally it's been pretty good. The only issue I've had is one of these keycaps, I don't remember which one it is, and it's that one. I don't know if it's broken or damaged. It could be from when I first took one of these keycaps off, but one of those keycaps just kind of pops off pretty easily, and sometimes when I'm sliding my fingers across to hit like tab or something, it will knock that off. And see, even there. It's definitely spill proof. I guess that's worth mentioning as well. I have spilled a lot. I do eat and drink around my keyboard, and I'm not gonna lie, I have straight up spilt water and beer directly into the keyboard at least 3 times, and it is still perfectly fine. It's just a little sticky maybe. The whole keyboard has kind of a space age retro arcade feel going about it, which is kind of cool and fun. However, I don't think it works for everybody. You can even see in the fonts on the macro keys or any part of the keyboard. It really feels like the font should be on the poster for a space-age sci-fi film from the 80s. Overall, I can't really tell if this keyboard is actually comfortable or not. The whole keyboard is kind of full of rough edges all around it, and the jaggedness between the keycaps is definitely noticeable. And I don't feel like it has any negative effects. However, I don't know if I would ever describe it as a comfortable keyboard to use. The keys are super quiet, which is pretty nice for a mechanical keyboard. So if you want something that is mechanical but you don't want to wake up your neighbors or a person in the next door room, then this is definitely a good compromise. The Roamer G switches still have really nice tactile engagement, but they aren't obnoxiously loud, which is pretty refreshing, and it still has a really satisfying feel to them. So, overall, is this keyboard worth your money? Well, the answer is kind of. Personally, I wouldn't do the Spark again, which means I wouldn't get these same keycaps, because keep in mind the Spectrum has the smoother keycaps. Additionally, when I first bought this keyboard, it was like $140, which is very expensive for a keyboard. I do enjoy it, it looks good, however, a part of me just wished that underneath the keycaps would light up. And I guess it's far from perfect in my book. However, I do think it is a quality product, and now that the price is significantly lower than from what I bought it for, I would say it's well worth the money. Especially if you're looking for a quieter mechanical keyboard. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you do, in fact, want a G910 after this video, you can go ahead and snag one in the affiliate link below. I do receive a small commission on that. Anyway, thank you for watching. Leave a like, comment, or subscribe if you want to see more. I hope this was helpful.